I'm live. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
First of all, I live on the internet. It's perfectly okay with me if you keep your computers on. And I hope that some of the things I'm going to tell you about will actually inspire you to want to spend more time on the internet. A little bit about me first. That was the longest, most boring bio on the planet. I'm a transplanted New Yorker. I live in the Midwest. I talk really fast. I act like a New Yorker sometimes, but I live in the Midwest, so I know a lot about, and actually I went to college in a really small town. I understand the ag business more than most people do. So even though I might look like a suit and be an ad agency gal, I really do understand your markets, and I think that's important for me to tell you that. So anyway, the internet has changed everything, and what we're going to talk about today is some of the changes that the internet brings to you and all of the challenges, the businesses that you have and that sort of thing. And then we're going to talk about how trust factors in and why that's important. So here's who I am. Do any of you use Twitter? Awesome. Well, there's where you can stalk me on Twitter. I'll warn you in advance. I'm chatty. I have a lot of friends. And if you follow me, I'll follow you back, and I might, fill up your Twitter stream. But anyway, that's where you can find me. We're talking about this today, and I know that you've had lots of conversations. We're talking about this today because the internet has changed everything. Is there anybody here that doesn't agree with that? It's changed everything. Okay, and today, two things matter. Just two. Okay? When we want to buy a product or service, when we want to know anything about anything, we do one of two things. I'm not going to ask you what they are because the answers are right there. We Google it, and by the way, I start every speech, and I do a lot of them, by saying we do one of two things. What are they? This time I'm telling you because it's late in the afternoon, and I know you're tired, and I know you're thinking about drinking and eating. And by the way, I always bat cleanup at these events, and there's reasons, so I might trick you a little bit. But anyway, so search and friends matter. And if everything about your business isn't built in such a way that it speaks to search and friends, pull your heads out, because you need to get changing. Okay, so this is kind of hard to see. The other thing I want to make sure you understand is that this slide deck will be available on SlideShare after the presentation. I'm going to go fast. I'm going to give you a lot of information. I'm going to make your brain hurt, but you're going to be able to find this later on the web. So anyway, let's understand how the web works today. And you see that little thing in the middle there? That's your website. That's the hub of all your business operations. And all of those things surrounding your website, those are channels that feed your website, if, by the way, your website is built the way it should be built. And by the way, as an aside, I'm kind of known for my expertise in the social media space, but I'm a digital marketer. So I have people come to me every day and say, I need you to work some of that social media magic for our business. And what I say is, I need to see what your business looks like on the web before I can work any magic. 95% of the time, when I look at somebody's website, it's broken, and it's not designed in such a way that takes this into consideration. So social media magic, if you have a website that's not built the way it should be built, is a waste of money, so cut it out. Start by looking at your website. Okay, Google has a voracious appetite. I like to liken it to a toddler. I have 6-year-old twins. And sometimes, does anybody have kids? You know how you get them to eat and you're like, here, honey, I'll do anything. Just eat this, please. You trick them. So Google has a voracious appetite. It's sometimes like a toddler. And this is kind of hard to see, but if you see the computer up there in the corner and see all these other things down here, social media channels, Flickr, Twitter, YouTube, see all of those things, all of those components feed search engines. Again, when people want to find you to buy what it is you're selling, and they're Googling you, if these things aren't feeding them and leading them to you and your website, they're probably not going to get there. Okay. And then we're going to talk about content a little bit. And content is are any of you involved actively in content marketing? Oh, good. Okay, nobody raised their hands, by the way. Okay, content marketing is almost my sole area of focus today. There is not another element of marketing that's more important, and I'm going to show you why. By the way, Bill Gates, not a dummy. in 1996, Bill wrote a white paper, and what he said is content is where I expect much of the real money will be made on the internet. Okay, this is really kind of interesting, and I have to get close because I'm old and I can't see. But this talks a little bit about what happens in an internet minute. Okay, so there's 3,000 photo uploads in an internet minute. People make, there's 320 new Twitter accounts and 100,000, can't read where that goes to, 100,000 new tweets every minute on Twitter, okay? Google Plus, or on Google rather, there's 2+ million search queries in 1 minute on the internet. Is that surprising to anyone? Because that's a lot, okay? So, and at any 1 minute, there's 277 Facebook logins. That's a lot. Okay, so are any of you marketers? Raise your hands. Okay. Are any of you in the business of selling anything to anybody? Hello? You're marketers. Okay? What we used to do was this kind of stuff. We interrupted people with our messages, okay? We do display ads. We still do these things, by the way, and they're still important. Display ads, direct mail, TV and radio, yellow pages, cold calling, email blasts. All of those things are interruption. How many of you watch TV and fast forward through the commercials? How many of you get in the car and listen to Sirius because there's no commercials? How many of you do anything you can to filter that crap out of your lives? Hello? Okay. So if this is the stuff we're still doing, and this is how you behave, how is it do you think the people you're trying to sell stuff to behave? You got to change. Okay, content marketing is a really big deal. You may be doing content marketing and not know it. I don't know. But blogging, video and podcasting, email, using Flickr, Instagram, any of your social media channels, writing case studies, white papers, using things like Tumblr and Posterous. Are any of you doing any of that stuff? Then you're content marketing. You didn't even know it. Okay, all of this stuff is called inbound marketing. And you need to remember that term. Okay, content marketing, which is also inbound marketing, is really important because it's about pulling them in. When you use content marketing strategies, what you do is you sprinkle little breadcrumbs across the internet of things that you hope are interesting enough that they pick up and follow to wherever it is you want them to go. Okay? Today, marketing is a lot like math. All right? You have a strategy, and you let your data tell you what they're interested in. You create content that you know is interesting or relevant or informative to them. You spread those breadcrumbs on the internet, and if you're doing it right, they show up on the landing page that you want them to end up at. They show up on your website. It's really pretty cool. And the way that I differentiate content marketing from traditional marketing is this. When we were doing traditional marketing, okay, what we do when we do traditional marketing is we say, I want everybody in zip code 64113 watching TV at 8 p.m. And I want everybody in this zip code to get this direct mail piece. And I want everybody tuned into this radio station at this particular time on a certain day to hear my message. That's what we did. And you know what that's like? That's like having a fire hose and going like this and hoping that there's going to be a whole bunch of people right there where I'm guessing they're going to be, okay? What I'm talking about and suggesting that you consider with content marketing is not like a fire hose. It's like a fog. It's like enveloping your brand in a fog and putting lots of things out there so that different people can get them in the channels where they participate. Show me this. How many of you would rather get an email than a phone call? How many of you would rather get a text message? How many of you would rather get a letter in the mail than an email? Okay, my point is this. We all have different preferences. I hate to talk on the phone. Please don't call me. I have to talk on the phone, but I'd rather you didn't call me. What I can tell you, and if you send me a text message, I'll probably get it. But even though I always have my phone, I don't always check my text messages. But by gosh, if you send me an email, I'm never going to miss it. My point is, we all have different preferences. I can see you nodding. So you have to create marketing messages that respect your preferences and your preferences and your preferences, and you have to put them out there like those breadcrumbs. Okay, social media channels drive business and they drive trust, but you have to feed those channels with great content, and there's a lot of junk out there. Okay, this is really kind of important, and I have to account to CFOs a lot of times who are writing checks to me for results that I deliver. And what they care about is, does it make the cash register ring? Okay? And so when we talk about social media channels, a lot of times people want to go, oh, it's so warm and fuzzy, and we just need to be there because everybody's there. Well, what I'm telling you is that social media channels drive business. This is a chart, customer acquisition by channel, and it's comparing B2B businesses and B2C businesses, which is important. I work with both. When you look at the channels, the percentage of users who acquired a customer through that channel, B2C businesses, look at that. Facebook and Twitter, very high. Some of you are in B2C business, some of you are in B2B, is that right? Okay, it's important to understand these channels. I'm not suggesting you fool around on social media and content marketing because I think it's a good thing to do. Data shows that's where leads and sales are coming from. Okay, any of you working on video content? I will tell you this. I speak a lot and I get asked a lot to talk about or to write about trends. I will tell you that there's two answers. Every time somebody asks me the things that we're focusing on, I have two things. One is video, the other is mobile. If you're in the business of selling stuff to people, and if you're in the business of marketing, even if you think those are two different things, and you don't have video and mobile in your sites, I hope that by the time you leave, you will. Okay, this is a survey from marketers recently done, showing marketers paying attention to video. You see where it was in 2009? Here's what it is in 2011. It's even greater now in 2012. Same thing with Facebook. No surprise to anyone here. Marketers are paying a lot more attention to Facebook. Marketers are also paying attention to Twitter, and it's really not about lunch. Okay, let's talk about blogging. Any of you have a blog? Awesome. Okay, blogging is marketing. Blogging, writing for my corporate blog. By the way, I'm a business owner, okay? I'm a business owner. I put out fires. I'm the rainmaker. I'm the problem solver. I'm the strategist. Every client that we have wants to work with me all day, every day. Sound like your job? Everybody wants a piece of me. I wish that meant I was skinnier. Okay, my point is that writing for my blog is the hardest task on my to-do list every single week. And sometimes I succeed in reaching my goals, and sometimes I don't. But every week I start over again. And the reason that I do it is because my blog is my marketing channel. My blog drives business to my business every single week. Okay? Content marketing, though, and blogging, it's not only more cost-effective in terms of leads and sales, it's how you build trust with your audience. Okay? Content marketing works. You can't see this now, but you'll be able to see it on SlideShare. 52% of consumers say blogs have impacted purchase decisions. 52% of marketers have acquired new customers through their blogs. 57%, sorry. 42% of consumers look to articles and blogs for information about their potential purchases. Do you do any of this? Okay. 61% of consumers are more likely to purchase goods from businesses that offer custom content. Custom content means content on your website that's helpful or interesting or resourceful or entertaining to them, okay? 60% of business decision makers say branded content helps them make better product decisions. Anybody buy anything without reading reviews? I read reviews on everything I buy. That's content. Okay, so there's only 27 million pieces of content shared online daily, and 1 in 5 social media messages include links to content. You see why content marketing is kind of, sort of important? 60% of content sharing messages specific to an industry mention a brand or product by name. I can promise you, I thought I was supposed to speak at 3. I showed up. I realized it wasn't until 4. I was starving. I walked across the street. I got a sandwich. I got a salad. Actually, it was awesome. The first thing I did when I was sitting in my hotel room, and I realized I'm kind of a freak, but I took a picture of my salad because it was really awesome. And by the way, my life is always about my next meal. I took a picture of my salad because it was so awesome, and I posted it. I used Instagram, and I said, I just discovered Zoe's Salads in DC. So far, it looks pretty awesome. Guess what? That message was posted to my Facebook page and to my Twitter page. By the way, I have 45,000 followers on Twitter and 3,500 friends on Facebook. Zoe's didn't ask me to do that. I don't know how many of you are sharing content in that way, but the people you're selling stuff to are. The people you want to sell stuff to are. So think about that. SEO. Any of you investing in SEO, search engine optimization for your businesses? Wow. Okay, so search engine optimization is optimizing your website. None of you raised your hand. Barely anybody raised your hands, okay? Okay, search engine optimization is the act of fine-tuning your website on a regular basis to drive more traffic to your website. It could be doing Google pay-per-click advertising, that sort of thing. Search engine optimization is really important. It's a really big part of marketers' focus these days, okay? 76% of marketers who have SEO campaigns in place are also producing content. SEO is social. Social is SEO. Content is social. My point is this. What Google does and Bing does and Twitter does is they look for the content that's being shared in social media channels, and that impacts search results. So when you Google, if I write a blog post about Zoe's Salads and what a great customer service experience they delivered, there's a good chance that my blog is going to appear if you search Zoe's Salads. That's a big deal. Okay, so let's talk about friends. 78% of people trust recommendations from their friends. 14% trust advertisements. Aren't we talking about trust? In case you didn't get that, only 78% trust what their friends say. That's a lot. So again, you have to be thinking, how is all of what I'm doing, how are all of the messages, how are all of the ways we're communicating in all the different channels, how are we reaching the customers that we want to serve, our existing customers, our prospective customers, and think about all their connections as potential customers as well. These are really important channels for you, so what can you do? Seriously, this is a lot, all right? But there's some things that you can do that aren't that hard. Brand yourself. If they can't find you on the web, they can't become your customers. I challenge you to go back and think about your websites, because I will tell you this. I spent a few hours this morning, and the only websites I looked at were the websites from some of the sponsors of this event. Are any of you in the audience part of the sponsors of this event? No? Many of those websites sucked. I say that with all due respect. I build websites for a living, and I've looked at a lot of crummy ones. And I'm in the business of helping people make them better. But most of them really stunk. And the reason they stunk is because they looked like what they were supposed to look like 10 years ago, like an online corporate brochure. Guess what? It's not how you build a website today. Okay, and my point when I talk about search engine optimization is you have to look at your websites. You have to think about why people come to your websites. What information are they looking for? What problems are you by the way, we all have problems. Okay? And when we're looking for something, we're trying to solve a problem. Okay? I want to buy something, I don't have it, it's a problem. Okay? So when you look at your website and think about, how am I serving up content that solves problems? How are we telling people that come to our website in easy to understand language, we know what your problem is. We're so glad you're here because we can fix it. That's all you got to say. You don't have to say all the other BS that's on there. So look at your websites and think about the phrases that people use to get to your website and see if using those phrases, you're solving problems for them. Do any of you have Google Analytics on your websites? How many of you look at your analytics? Raise your hands really high. How many of you look at them every month? Every week? Every day? God bless you. I sleep with my iPhone under my pillow. And I do that not because I'm that much of a freak, but because I can't see. And when I wake up, and I don't wear a watch. When I wake up in the middle of the night and I want to know what time it is, I have my phone. So there's other reasons, like the white noise machine that I have to drown out my husband snoring. Before I get out of bed every morning, I look at my web analytics. And I look at the web analytics for each one of my clients. I know who's coming to our websites. I know why. I know what they came in looking for. And I know what content they visited while they were on the site. I know every day. To me, marketing is about math. Marketing is about data. Marketing is about analytics. If you're not looking at your data from your website and letting that drive your decisions, please start. So, if they can't find you on the web, they can't become your customers. What you can do on their website is you can give them value. Instead of talking about how great you are, you can give them value on your website. Give them information they need. Serve them. Imagine that, serving your customers. A website isn't a billboard for how great you are. A website is an opportunity for you to tell them that you understand their problem and that you can fix it. Think about that. Are you serving your customers? Or are you advertising to them? Give them news, give them resources, give them fun. By the way, all that stuff makes them like you more, and it makes them trust you. Video rules. Search engines love video. YouTube, second largest search engine there is, 800 million uniques a month. Anything you want to know, it's on YouTube, dudes. I promise you. How to put on eye makeup, how to change the oil, how to make jelly. I'm not kidding. I spoke to the American Association of HVAC Contractors. And by the way, all of my audiences are comprised mostly of middle-aged men who really want to not believe this stuff. By the way, most of my clients are middle-aged men who were disbelievers, and then I showed them. So I'm used to having these discussions with people who don't believe me. I almost always win.
I Googled how to strip wallpaper.
There you go. Thank God you heard. I thought it was how to strip. They have me back clean up because I'm kind of silly. Yeah, she wants to know how to strip, and she Googled it. No, how to strip, anything you want to know, it's there.
I bet you could find that.
I'm sure you could. Business opportunity for us. We'll talk after. Okay, so YouTube, this is crazy 1 hour video uploaded every second, people. Every second. There's more video uploaded to YouTube in 1 month than all the major TV networks created in the last 60 years. YouTube mobile gets 600 million views a day. How many of you have your cell phone? How many of you, if you left your cell phone in the room, would go ahead on up and get it instead of coming back here without it? How many of you leave the house, get halfway to work, realize you left the goddamn thing, and then turn around and get it? Everybody? We got it. We need it. Okay? Everything mobile is so important. How are you factoring mobile into your business? 600 million views a day. Traffic from mobile devices tripled in 2011. By the way, it's going to triple again. 500 years of YouTube video is watched every single day on Facebook. How many of you are using video on Facebook? Not that many. 700 YouTube videos are shared on Twitter every minute. Just like I'm taking pictures of my food, people, sharing it. People are shooting video. And the other thing that's important to understand is that YouTube is a social network and it's a community. And every time a video is posted there, 50% of them, people have taken time to rate the videos or leave comments. It's a community. It's a vibrant community that's waiting there for you guys to decide to integrate it into your marketing. There are weirdos everywhere, my dear. Except in this room, of course. Okay, but the thing that's so cool about video is that video really helps your customers get to know you. It helps put a face and some warmth on your brand, and it's a big deal. There's all kinds of data that I could give you that would also show you that if you use video and embed it in your newsletters, for any of you doing email blasts, if you embed video on a Facebook page, if you use video in blog posts, rich content drives clicks. People respond to video. They like it. So it's really important, and it really helps you add an element of personalization. So here's some things you can do. How many of you have a YouTube page for your company? Excellent. I'll go stalk them after. Okay, so here's an example of what you can do. You can also use video. And the other thing that I do is I always look at, whenever I create content, how many different ways I can use it, because that's just smart. I'll give you an example. This presentation probably took me about 30 hours from start to finish to put together. You guys are special. That was funny. Okay, so 30 hours, I'm done. I give the presentation. I could walk away and be done with it forever. Right? Wrong. When I'm done with this presentation, I upload it to SlideShare, which has its own community, which has hundreds of millions of visitors a day. Okay? So I upload that presentation to SlideShare. I also write a blog post about it. And I said, I had such a great time speaking at the blah, blah, blah conference, and there were some great people, and this woman that taught me how to strip on YouTube, and blah, blah, blah. And then I embed the video in my blog post. Okay, so now I've got this in real life. I've got SlideShare. By the way, I convert the SlideShare to YouTube, and I put it on my YouTube channel. So I've got SlideShare, I've got YouTube, I've got my blog post. How much more? My content has legs. So you see what I'm saying? When you create this kind of content, think about the different ways that you can use it, and it can become very effective for you. And again, I'm talking about hitting people where they are. Not everybody uses SlideShare, but some of those people might be on YouTube, and some of those people might read my blog. So anyway, think about it. So once you start creating video, you can use it on your corporate site. You can use it in your newsletters. You can use it on your social channels. Lots of uses. Okay, local SEO. Any of you doing any local SEO work? Okay, great. All right, so owning the market where you are, God bless you, is a big deal. Understand this, Google is your client. I mean it. Google is your client. If they can't find you by Googling you, I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna make their way to you. So your Google image is important. It's your online identity. And it's important to claim it, and it's not hard to do. Again, I'm trying to give you some takeaways that you can go away and think about doing right now. Start thinking about video. Start thinking about what you're doing from a local SEO standpoint. And I did a Google search for farm property lenders. And I actually used this. I spoke to the a group of people in Austin that were customers of Farm Credit. And what I wanted to show them was that when I Googled farm property lenders, their name didn't show up. Okay, so I'm not really sure how I would find them. That would be tricky. So Google what it is you do tonight and see where you show up. And don't Google it using your company name. Google using terms that people use to find you. Big whoop if they find you with your company name. Okay, remember what I said about video? I was Googling best cattle feeders. I spend a lot of time dicking around on the web. Best cattle feeders. Look what I found. By the way, these were on the first page of Google. 2 separate videos. Meet Shawn. He's a farmer. By the way, he looks like he's about 23. Any of you serve young clients in the ag space? Because if you do, they're tech-savvy people. They get this stuff. They're making their own videos. They're not waiting for you to do it. Here's Shawn. He's awesome. He's talking about the best cattle feeders. And by the way, when you Google best cattle feeders, Shawn is delivered to your doorstep. Here's Alan. And by the way, let me take you back here. Shawn's video was just posted in December, and it only has 68 views. Alan's video was posted in February, 2,500 views. Alan's been blogging a long time. If you were John Deere, anybody here with John Deere? Wouldn't you want to know somebody blogging about your product? He's actually saying it's a pretty good product. So if you're not paying attention to stuff like this, you might be missing out on opportunities. That people love your product so much they're video blogging about it. Holy moly, I want to know these guys. Okay, so there's some other things you can do. Any of you use Google Places? It's really important, especially if you have a brick and mortar business. So if you use Google Places, when you go to Google and you Google something and it brings up a business and it'll show you a Google Places location. I'm not going to go into it in great detail because we really don't have time. But my point is, if you have a business, I don't care if you're a bank, I don't care if you're a retailer, I don't care if you're a lender, I don't care if you're an insurance, you should have a Google Places account for your business. It will impact search. It will deliver people to you who are searching for what you want to do. It's really, really important. Google is very focused right now on delivering local results. So when I'm sitting in Kansas City and I'm Googling nail salon or I'm Googling something else, it knows where I am and it wants to give me results that are going to be relevant to me. So this is a really easy way that you can do something like using Google Places and using directories like Bing and Yahoo's directory to help impact how you show up when it comes to search. If you're not listed in those local directories, make time to do it because it's really important. Here's some examples. Anybody using business directory listings? Well, here are some. Universal Business Listing, Localese, there's Yahoo, there's Bing, there's Google Places. All of these are easy to do. They are free. They just take a little bit of time. Okay, another thing that you can do is think about mobile. We already talked about the fact that everybody has a smartphone. Wow, look at that. Okay, so 44% of business owners are likely to try mobile. We actually know that that's higher. Wow, look at those numbers. Huh. Yet, even though we talked about all these people walking around with mobile devices, less than 5% of businesses have mobile-enabled websites. Have you all ever checked your website to see what it looks like on a mobile device? I checked them. Okay, most websites look fine on a computer or a laptop. And this is what a lot of websites look like on a phone. I don't know about you. Can you read it? Because I can't. And when I get to a mobile website like this, it really just kind of pisses me off. And what it tells me is you're not paying attention and you don't care. That's what it tells me. And by the way, we can make jokes about it, but there are people that make decisions on whether or not to patronize a business by how much you show me you care about me. That's a kind of a big deal, okay? So it's really important to think about your website. By the way, those people that look at Google Analytics, are you looking at what traffic comes from mobile devices? Because if you're not, please start. I'm laser focused on that. Every month I see those numbers rise. Every month I know how many people come to my website using desktop and using devices. How many of you have an iPad or some kind of similar device? Any of you do any searching on that? Any of you do any searching on your phone? Okay, so if you're not asking yourself, how are we delivering content to people who are doing the same thing that we're doing using our devices and using our phones? Well, I'm not really sure what you're waiting for. I'm really annoying. Okay, so 50% of businesses, I do not know what happened with these numbers, but 50% of businesses have never checked what their website looks like on a device. Let's look, okay? Can you see this? This is Farm Credit's website, by the way. And it's Find Farm Credit, not the Farm Credit that's a sponsor for this event. This is a group that I spoke to last November. Okay, so can you read it? Because I can promise you, you're sitting back there, I'm up here. I can't read it either. Never mind, use it. Okay, they redid their website. And here's what it looks like now. Do you ever go to a website and go, how in the world am I supposed to push these buttons? And do you do this? And curse? Because that's what I do. Again, when I have to do that, I know that you don't care about me. And that pisses me off. Okay, here's another example of a non-mobile website. All right, and this is board and cheese. And here, my friends, is an example of a ding-dong, spot-on, wonderful mobile website. You got problems. I can tell you're coming to my website using your mobile device. I'm going to solve your problems. Oh, doggone it. I'm going to solve your problems. You want to know where to find us? You want to know about our products? You want some recipes? You want to know what we're doing on Facebook? Having a mobile website is really easy. You just ask yourself, what the heck do they want when they come here, and you give it to them. Please don't make them do this. 87% of smartphone owners are accessing the internet or email. I know you are, right? 25% mostly go online using their phones. And this is really applicable to you people because so many of your customers and your prospective customers are in rural markets where perhaps internet connection stinks. Am I wrong? Well, what these folks rely on is devices. Their devices work when their internet connections don't. Again, serving them up content that they can consume on their devices is really, really important. If these are your people, you got to be paying attention. And here's some of these people. Okay, how many of you have said, we need an app, we need an app, we really need an app? Anybody? Nobody in here has an app? Nobody in here thinks they need an app? Wow. Okay, well, let me tell you something. App builders and fancy ad agencies like to say, oh, you need an app. Well, here's the thing. Chances are good you don't need an app. If what you want to put in an app is so important and so relevant to people's lives that there's a reason for them to access that app every month, every week, and even better, every day, you need an app. But if what you want to tell them in an app isn't a critical part of their lives, you don't need an app. You need a mobile website. Oh, by the way, mobile websites, exponentially cheaper than apps. Just so you know. Okay, so this is really important. Time spent on mobile apps has surpassed web browsing. What that means is that more people are browsing the net from devices than from their computers. Again, if this is not driving your marketing strategy and your sales strategy, I hope that you walk away thinking about this. More people accessing the web from devices than from desktops. That number is going to continue to rise. Okay, so I don't have to tell you, farmers, ranchers, growers, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, consumers are tethered to their devices too. Here are some of the things we're doing with apps. That's great. Now we're going to talk about social media. Why bother? Only 93% of customers expect companies to have a social media presence. Let me tell you a little story about me. We taught our girls to ride their bikes with no wheels, no training wheels, no wheels. No training wheels last summer. And we told them that once you can ride with no training wheels, Daddy and I will buy bikes and we'll all go riding together. And so we did that, and then we started looking for bikes. And we are huge fans of shop local, patronize local businesses, all that stuff. So we spent an entire Saturday combing Kansas City for beach cruiser bikes because that was what we knew we wanted. We're old. We don't need speeds. So we looked and looked and looked, and the only bikes we could find were like $300, $400, $700, and we thought, holy moly, we're not this into, we don't even know that we're going to do this all the time. So let's not spend quite that much money. So after spending an entire day trying to buy local, we went to the web. 20 minutes, found what we wanted, got ready to place an order, I went to the web to find a coupon. Anybody do that? Discount code? Went to the web to find a discount code. I found one. I'm in my shopping cart. I apply the discount code. Doesn't work. Oh, I'm so aggravated. And it's a beautiful day, and everybody's outside playing except me because I'm trying to order these stupid bikes. And so I instantly go to, I'm on their website. They tell me they're in the social media space. I go to Facebook because that's where I'm going to post a question. I can see that there's no meaningful use of Facebook whatsoever. So I curse a little bit, and then I go to Twitter. Anybody there? Anybody there? Because I really got a question. Yeah. No meaningful use of Twitter. So then I sighed, and I sent them an email through their contact form. And I said, I'm here. I've got money. I'm ready to spend it. I got this coupon code, and I really want to complete this transaction. Can you please have somebody get in touch with me? My husband walks to the door. He's like, what the heck have you been doing? I said, oh, I'm so aggravated. I'm trying to buy this. I got this money in my hand. They won't take my money. They're not on Facebook. They're not on Twitter. He's like, oh, Jesus, did you call them?
You're married to one of those middle-aged men.
Oh, God, yes. It never occurred to me to call them. Did I not already tell you I hate the phone? So you have to think about your customers, and you have to be there when they need you. And they almost lost my business. Wouldn't it drive you crazy as a business owner to think that somebody's there with their checkbook or their credit card and wanting to spend it and me not being there to take their money? That drives me crazy. So anyway, my point is, other than that I'm an idiot, and it didn't occur to me, by the way, they answered my email really quickly. And we bought the bikes, and everything was great. And I've told that story on stages all across the United States. And by the way, if you want a beach cruiser, go to beachcruisers.com because they're awesome. So my point is, I expected these companies to have a social media presence. How many of your customers do the same? And social channels, this is where these people are. She goes to Facebook every day. She doesn't read a newspaper. And this lady, the one wearing a suit, she's doing the same. And with all due respect, I disagree with the gentleman that said that chefs are driving what's happening with food in the industry. He could not be more wrong. And if you're still in the room, we can debate this later. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, and I am driving the food train. And what I care about is good food for my kids. And I care about healthy food for my husband who's too fat. And I am driving that train. And by the way, my husband is addicted to cooking shows. And he watches cooking shows and then he cooks. Unfortunately, he eats a little too much. But my point is that recipes, #1 searched thing on the internet, recipes. So if you think that people are sitting around waiting for chefs to cook for them, you're crazy. It's men and women like you and me. How many of you people like to barbecue? Smoke, barbecue, everything else. How many of you love to cook? We are driving this train, people. It is not chefs. They might have some good ideas, but we don't suck either. Okay, so businesses of all sizes, greatest challenge is finding new customers, right? Okay, here's what people are doing now to find new customers. Do you see that only 85% of them are using the web? Do you see that only 74% of them are using search and only 54% of them are using video? And you see how those numbers changed from 2010 to 2011? You think it's changing some more? Same thing. Coupon offers. How many of you subscribe to daily deal sites? Oh my God, 53% of businesses are using daily deals, some kind of offer to get customers. Mobile, 49%. Twitter, 50%. Facebook, 65%. If you're not there, if you're not doing this stuff, your competitors will be, so don't worry. Social media is for leads and sales. Again, when I'm accountable to the C-suite, I have to prove that these channels drive sales. And what we see, what research sees, is that your company blog is the top of the channel for driving leads to your business, okay? Top of the way that you can serve your customers Provide them information, let them get to know you. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, also really important. Why are we talking about this? Anybody ever heard of Seth Godin? Okay, in 2008, Seth Godin said, content marketing is all the marketing that's left. And my point here is this. In the world that has changed, because the internet has changed everything, you can't fake it. Because if you fake it, if you try, I'm going to know. And so are all the other people. And you got to be real. You got to be human. You got to solve problems. You got to help people. You got to care. And real equals trust. Social media is about trust. Content marketing helps you build trust. So what are we going to do? Same old shit? Anybody up for the crazy new shit? Again, there's a reason they put me last. Okay. I hope that the answer is try some of that crazy new shit. The old way was this. Money times media meant business. Had a bunch of money, bought a bunch of media, got a bunch of business. Today, time and media, social media channels included, drives business. And there's no easy button, and there's no faking it, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of time. And anybody that tells you differently, and that anybody that waltzes in the door and says, I can automate all your social media stuff, and it'll just be 10 hours a day, 10 hours a week, and we'll charge you $500, we'll just have all these friends for you, whatever, kick them out. Because that stuff is snake oil. Today, every company is a media company, and every company needs a content strategy, and every company needs a social media presence. All of that stuff that I'm talking about, all that new shit, that's inbound marketing. That's leaving breadcrumbs on the web so that people can find their way to wherever it is you want them to be. And if you're not focused on it now, know that it's predicted with reasonable certainty that only 70% of all marketing will be inbound marketing by 2015. That's 3 years. So those of you who get this stuff and who walk away thinking about how I can change and adapt some of this into my business operations, you're the ones that are going to win. And I like to win. Here's a quick example of, and by the way, I looked at more websites today than you probably ever want to think about. But this is actually not one of the websites that I looked at, because for the most part, the websites that I looked at for the sponsor companies for this event weren't really all that great. One thing that I look at when I look at websites and when I look at somebody that's really making significant inroads in the social media space and who understands all this crazy new stuff that we're talking about is somebody like Monsanto. You see right there on their homepage, right there, follow us on the web. Right there, they lead with their social media channels. You need something, lady, that wants to buy a bike? Here I am. So I look for that as an indicator to how knowledgeable a company is about how important these channels are and how interested they are in serving my needs. Monsanto's doing a terrific job by having that right there. Here's an excerpt from Monsanto's Twitter feed. By the way, you can't probably see it very well, but a lot of that there is just plain old conversation. Imagine that. Using social media actually act like a person and talk to somebody. Social media channels are no different, and you should act no differently in social media channels than you do in real life. So when, after this meeting, when you walk up and talk to me, because I know you won't be able to resist me, what do? We shake hands. We say, hi, it's great to know you. Terrific. I'm really thirsty. I like beer. Let's go get one. Right? I mean, that's how we act in real life. So when you're sitting there trying to figure out how do we act on social media channels, the answer is the same way we act in real life. And that's really been the secret to my success in social media channels. I'm kind of a goofball. And when you engage with me in social media channels, you quickly learn that I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a really good juggler. I like beer, I like food, I like wine. I like smart people. And I have lots of conversation. So Monsanto, they're talking about all kinds of different things. They're talking about their clients. So they do a really good job. And they have 15,000 people who are paying attention to what they do in the social media space. Here's their YouTube channel. Oh, they've only had 390,000 video views of their YouTube channel. That's not effective for them at all. And by the way, this isn't like fancy slick stuff. This is some really cool stuff that they've got going on their YouTube channel, so check it out. Georgia National Guard, I just pulled this from another presentation that I did for one of my clients the other day, but again, see what I'm saying about how they lead with their social media channels? They're not tucked down at the bottom of their website. They're not tucked up where you can't see them. They're right there so that you can see them. And so how do you do all this stuff? You build stuff in the right way. You build your website in the right way. You participate, you listen to what your customers do. Any of you use Google Alerts? Okay, I have Google Alerts on my name, on every iteration of my name, on my business's name, on every iteration of my business's name, on every single one of my clients' names, on my competitors' names. By the way, anytime something happens on the web that has something to do with me, I want to know about it. Same thing with my clients. Same thing with my competitors. By the way, Google Alerts is really hard because it's free, and it just takes a minute. So my point is, listen. It's another way to use, especially Twitter is a great way to listen. You can use search.twitter.com and go search for a hashtag term about anything you want to know, and it's going to be delivered to you. It's really awesome. So build something the way it should be built. Listen, participate in the social media space in a real way, not just in a spammy advertising, broadcasting your message way, and create content and adapt what you're doing to serve your customers and prospects. Because this is the age of the empowered consumer. And if you don't believe that, you've got some changing to do. And I love this because most of us only know this quote that and say survival of the fittest. Okay, and by the way, make no mistake, I understand that everything I'm telling you to do is hard. And just thinking about it kind of makes you want to groan. I get that. But it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's the most adaptable to change. Change is hard. Many of us in the room have lived through lots and lots. We lived through times when we didn't have cell phones. And we didn't have fax machines. I'll never forget when my office first got a fax machine, I'm like, holy moly, I don't have to walk all the way across town to deliver this. This is the coolest thing since sliced bread. Well, change has happened a lot. Boy, am I old. Change has happened a lot. And if you think it's slowing down, if you think it's hard to keep up with now, put your seatbelt on. Because it's not slowing down. And those of us that can adapt to change, and those of us that can be not so arrogant as to think that our way, the good way, the old way, the reliable way that we've done it forever is the way we're going to keep doing it, those of us who can say, that makes sense, I'm going to change. Those are the ones of us that are going to not only survive, but win. Be patient, be smart. Change is hard. It takes time. It costs money. And if you decide that you want to do it on the cheap, if you decide you want to hire your niece who just got out of college, who's on Facebook every day, to run your social media accounts, you're dumb. Anybody ever see a brand crisis blow up when somebody was doing something, especially in your businesses? When you're talking about food, feeding people, having somebody that's young and inexperienced run your social media accounts is kind of like going, here's my brand, here's my business, here's everything I've built, you go ahead and take care of it. That's just stupid. And you would have no idea how many people think that's a good solution. So you get what you pay for. Understand that. Allocate budget dollars to pay attention to content marketing and the social media space. And you can stalk me if you like. I'm normally pretty nice. Here's where you can find me. Again, I don't love the telephone, but I love email. You can find me in all those places. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. Thank you for not yawning too much. Do you have any questions? Yes, ma'am?